Patrick.
And welcome to the dorm room.
Here at the Fraternity.
Now, one of the best parts about Disney that really sets it apart from all the other theme parks around the world is the entertainment. And they do entertainment in the streets every day. Of course, we're talking about the parade, or a lot of people call it the 3 o'clock parade. Now, it's been a tradition since day one when Disneyland opened up in summer of 1955. And it's something we always look forward to when we go to the parks. So, of course, we have some favorites.
Oh yeah, so we thought, why not give you our top 5 Disney parades in history, or herstory.
So, past, present, nothing really for the future because we don't know what's to come. But you know what, this was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. It's really, we sat down, I thought, my gosh, there are a lot of parades and there are a lot of great parades. So, some tough choices, but let's do it. Let's start number 5. Now for me, my number 5 pick is going to be Remember the Magic. Now this was at Walt Disney World in the Magic Kingdom back in 1996 when the resort was celebrating its 25th anniversary. Now this holds a special place in my heart because it was my first Disney parade I ever saw, my first visit back right here actually. You probably can't tell, but there's a picture of me in a stroller in front of the castle, all decorated like an ugly cake, but I saw that parade and I fell in love with Disney right then, right there. I knew I was going to be obsessed with these parks.
So my number 5 pick would have to be over at Disneyland, which was called the Lion King Celebration. Oh my gosh, I was obsessed with this parade. I loved the floats and I loved the characters. What I thought was so unique was the aerialist that would stick these huge poles into the ground and then they would climb up them in the middle of Main Street. That's when they had their show stops.
Pretty cool. Was it actually in the ground?
It was literally in the ground, Main Street.
Number 4. When it comes to number 4, we're going overseas to Hong Kong Disneyland. Actually, no, I'm sorry, Tokyo Disneyland. I apologize. Tokyo Disneyland is home to Disney Dreams on Parade. Now, this parade has been there since opening day, but it changes, of course, and they just kind of change the tagline to it. So my favorite it was called Moving On. And I'm telling you what, they do parades big over there. They love their entertainment. That parade was like 40 minutes long from beginning to end, and the floats were elaborate, huge, and the reason why I really like this parade is because the music is beautiful, and just really you're always wanting to dance to it, and then also the variety of characters. You have a lot of characters to choose from. There was a lot. I never got to see in person, obviously, but I bought on eBay when I was a teenager, I bought the CD from someone over there, and it took like 2 weeks to get to me. When it came in, I listened to it nonstop. And I still have it to this day, somewhere in our bedroom. All right,
my number 4 pick would have to be the Hercules Victory Parade over at Disneyland. Of course, I love my West Coast parades. It's where I grew up, and sorry.
I just tried flexing.
It's okay. It's okay.
No one saw that.
But that parade was so much fun, and I loved being able to see the muses come to life.
Oh, that's cool.
And it was just so amazing. I loved it. It was so neat, and I loved the music. I mean, come on, that music to Hercules. You can't beat that.
That is
you cannot
really
beat that music. Oh, it's just so good.
Moving on to number 3, I have to go with nighttime parades. Now we have to change it because it's not always at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. There's always also nighttime entertainment, and my favorite parade at night, I have to go with Spectra Magic because Spectra Magic was very unique and it was only over here at Magic Kingdom, the park I grew up in, and it was definitely for the kids like the 90s kids like myself. It was what we grew up with, and it was at the time technologically advanced, and all the lights they had in there, and the characters, okay, I will say this, the character selection was not the best, I will say that, but the music was phenomenal, and I loved back when they had the glowing faces, those little electro
Those
dots.
were so creepy.
A lot of people got freaked out by them.
Those were so creepy.
But I loved them, and I loved how they sat on these balls and they just spun around and they made these weird noises, and they did this weird thing with the logo, and it was just so different. The intro was very different, and Mickey's float was phenomenal. He had the globe there with the vintage Disney World logo in it. It was cool.
The music is beautiful.
The music is beautiful.
The music is beautiful.
And hearing it on piano.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh. I think we're gonna have that played at our wedding. Just saying.
So sticking to the nighttime parades, but staying over on the West Coast at Disneyland because that is my home state.
So it can only be one thing.
Now this, I know a ton of people will say you are so wrong, but one of my favorites, not my all-time favorite, but one of my favorites would be Light Magic. That's right, I didn't stutter. Light Magic. If you don't know what that is, it's because it only actually played for 5 months, from May to September, and then it closed. It was so sad. Disney built these huge stages. There were 4 different units, but they were like moving stages, so big. And they put new lights on Main Street. Let's hear it.
The fiber optics, that's right.
They put fiber optics throughout the buildings, and so it looked like when the Pixies were going through, because it was all built around Pixies. This was all
before Pixies was a thing.
Yeah, this is before Tinkerbell blew up and became what she is now. And so I think it was way before its time. I think now if they brought something similar to that, I think it would be more successful.
Maybe a hit.
But back then, no one knew what was going on, why there were Pixies, why Pixies were waking up all the characters at night, and their characters were so cute though, in their little pajamas, and oh, it was so good. And the music, oh my gosh, obsessed with it. I can listen to it literally on repeat, 24 hours a day.
But number two, we're down to number 2 here, almost number 1. I'm gonna have to go with, and I know a lot of people, because it is a really great parade, and a lot of people right now say this is their number 1, because it is the newest. But Festival of Fantasy Parade in the Magic Kingdom is my number 2, and that parade is really, the music is spectacular. Each unit has its own score, but it follows this, it's phenomenal. The music really, when it comes to parades, that does it for me, is the soundtrack. And the floats are huge, and they're just so different. A lot of the parades that we saw in the Magic Kingdom in the past 10 years were all the floats were very similar, just recycled, repainted, and rethemed, and it was just, you can tell it's been reused before. This parade has all new floats, and we got some from overseas though, I think from Hong Kong or Tokyo, but it's, for the most part, all those floats are new. What's yours?
My number 2, of course, we'll go back to the nighttime parade, back over on the West Coast, keeping it in the States, Disneyland, and of course it is Disney's Main Street Electrical Parade. It is the original, and I only say that because when I was a kid, I used to see that I had to see that parade before we left the park, and my parents would always, they would want to go, they would take me in the stroller like through the stores, just so I wouldn't go on the, sidewalk. Well, to see it, and then to see everyone lining up for it. Because once I saw everyone lining up for it, I was like, we have to go see it. We have to stay.
And they're like, we're done, kids.
Yeah,
we're done.
So it was just, it means so much to me. And then when it was over here, I loved it even more. And then when I finally got to be in it, I can't even tell you the feelings that I had when I first went out there, when the gates opened and I went out and I was like in full costume and everyone was cheering and I literally just sobbing. And everyone's like, Patrick, stay, like, you're performing. And I'm like, I'm sorry.
You grew up with that, though.
Emotional.
It must be so weird growing up with it over in a different state, completely far away from where you were brought up, and seeing it come to where you traveled to and you made the change. That must be very emotional.
It was.
He's an emotional person, so
I'm an emotional person. Yeah,
I don't doubt that happened to you. But you're professional, though.
I
kept it together.
after like a couple seconds, I got it together and performed. But
so professional.
When I first walked out, I was a mess.
All right, so drum roll for number 1, Pixar's Block Party Bash. Now this is interesting because that was actually home that started over in 2005, I believe, at Disney's California Adventure Park. And then in 2008, it closed there, but they moved all over here to Disney's Hollywood Studios. I think at the time it was still MGM. I'm not sure on that. But I'll tell you right now,
He doesn't know?
Block Party Bash.
Comment down below if you do.
Block Party Bash. The reason why this is my number 1 is, first of all, I love the soundtrack. It's so, like, I listen to it so much. It's just something like when you're working out in the gym, when you're running, you can listen to it. It was just so like upbeat, and the characters and the units
and the cast. The cast was unbelievable. Just so like pumped and just like always going.
That's really why I love it, because I've never seen so much energy brought to a parade. And it's so funny because they did show stops in that parade. I think 2 or 3 of them. I think just 2. Yeah. But to do a show stop, and they had so much energy, and then do it again without taking a break, because you're constantly moving and you're having a smile on your face. I mean, that is professionalism, and that is really great talent, and the talent in that parade was phenomenal.
So my number 1, he already said it. It was in his top 5. but it is my number one, and it's very special to me. And it goes back to when I was a performer, and I would have to say it would be Disney's Festival of Fantasy Parade. It is by far, I'm not partial because I was in it, and I opened it, but it is just a really good parade. Like, honestly, it is just a really good parade. I mean, you have a fire-breathing dragon, you have fairies rolling down Main Street.
How do they do that? How do they do it?
Magic, duh.
Okay.
Duh. I mean, it's just unbelievable. We have Flynn Rider swinging.
That's my favorite part.
Like,
That's really
come
cool.
on. It's just so good and so inventive, and it just, I feel like it brought the caliber of what you see in the international parks. They brought it over here to the States.
This is a lot of fun. I enjoyed this. This is
know.
great. I
can go on forever.
I know.
If you want, like, let's have a dish, let's just talk about parades, you know, pick my brain, let me know down below. Let me know.
That'd be fun to do
We
like
can
a
make it kiki.
That'd be-
I can't say too much, but I don't want to get in trouble.
I want to do
can
a
tell you
live
a few
video.
things.
Let's do a live video one day.
Yeah, we should totally do live.
Do a live video, and we'll just have a topic.
That's genius.
And just go really in depth, and we can answer your questions. And if you have stories,
Yes.
let us know. We want to hear from
Let
you
us
guys.
know.
We wanna
Comment
know.
down below. Let us know. Is a live video thing, like, is that something you guys want? I don't know. We'll see. As always, from one brother to another, and sisters,
See you real soon.
here at the Fraternity.